Hey, this is Brian with the Seat Shop, and today we're going to show you how to take the heating element out of a 95 through 98 Chevy or GMC pickup, or 95 through 99 Suburban Tahoe Yukon. In this year range, they actually sew the heating element into the cover. They incorporate it into the cover. The newer model stuff, 2000 and newer, the heating element's actually attached to the foam cushion. So the newer stuff, you don't have to do the steps, these steps here. But on the older model, 95 through 99, you'll need to remove the old heater to transfer the new one. It really helps having two people to do this job. Basically, you got to deconstruct the cover. We're going to start cutting it apart at all the seams. You're going to pull it apart because there's a 1/4-inch foam that's sewn on the back of the cover. So the other side's got the leather. Just beneath the leather, you get this 1/4-inch foam that's sewn onto it, and the heating pad's in that foam. So we're going to try to just cut everything apart to separate the heater from it. So we're going to just start. We're going to take this full outer rim off of here first, just so we can see it a little better. Just a razor blade to pull up, cut down the seams.
Nothing really tricky to this.
Slide this forward a little bit.
Okay. I'll hold this for you.
Okay, now that's separated. The heating coil goes through three of the sections, the three center sections. These outer two don't have the heater in it. They got 1, 2, and 3. Now there's little wires that run through the whole coil, through the whole pad. And in between each section, there's going to be a little wire that just one wire across here and one wire across here. So it's not going through the whole, there's not wires going through the whole place, just one on one, one on one. So when we're cutting this apart, we got to be careful. That's when we're going to start cutting these apart. We'll flip it over. This is where it really helps having two people. One person's pulling it apart where you can see the seams, and then we'll just come through and cut the thread. It's kind of a long, tedious process, but you want to make sure that you take your time on this, because you don't want to cut too much and cut, and actually wind up cutting the heater.
Yeah, and there's going to be 2 stitches there. Carpet.
Okay.
Do the same thing on this side.
All right. Now we're going to start to separate in between these. Now you really don't make sure you don't cut deep here, because like I said, those wires are running through here and here. So we're going to cut real shallow. Just make sure you're barely nicking the.
And also make sure you have a box of very, very, very fresh, sharp razor blades. You can run through them quick. Here, that may be.
You go from the back end, or
Let me try this.
Make sure I'm getting the bottom stitch too.
Went across the whole top first.
Yeah. Now you can see that white pad that's exposed there. That's got the heating coil in it. That's why you don't want to just take this and just slice it right down, because if you cut through that white piece where the wire's running through, then this whole thing's shot. Okay. You want to pull this whole? Go ahead and cut these off.
Yeah, if you can get in there, it's real fragile.
Go.
Yeah, and if anything like this, you know, cut the leather, just don't cut down.
Yeah. Let's go from the center. Maybe we can just cut this leather.
Yeah. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, but if you hold this up to the light, you can see all the, I know that doesn't do any good, but you can see all the wires that run. So they don't come exactly all the way to the end of this. You just want to be extra careful. But if you happen to, you know, just nick through the cloth right here on the outer panel, I can see a wire here. You'll still be fine.
You got about a half-inch or quarter to half-inch of grazing around the front lip before you see the wires. But the main part of cutting it apart where you can get the leather off, so you can hold it up where it's translucent, so you can see where the wires are, so you don't cut across them.
Actually, we can get you a shot here. So, all right. So I'm gonna just take this scissors, since there's no really need, and just cut this pad right along the leather, so it Don't have to fight that.
You want to leave some room on the ends because when you glue this back on, you don't want to when you glue this onto the new foam cushion, when you do the reinstall the new cover, you don't want to just cake the whole underneath side of it with glue. You want to kind of glue some of the corners. So you want to have a little bit of fabric that doesn't have heating coils, above it, to where you can put some of the glue. So we don't trim it completely tight up right up to the wire. Leave you some space.
Let's see one.
Yeah, try to flip that one around. That's good. Okay.
I'll go to this
Now
cross
we get another one of these seams. Again, this is one place you don't want to cut real deep.
I'm just going across the surface stitch.
There's going to be 2 layers of stitch, one on the top and then one about another 1/4 inch deeper on the bottom, so it'll peel back and kind of in layers.
Okay. Nope. Got you there.
Okay. Let me fold it. There we go. Let's try this real quick. Nothing real difficult about it. It's just kind of time-consuming and tedious. I know it's not the most exhilarating video to watch, but it's definitely going to let you know what all's involved in changing this thing over.
Okay.
Perfect. Now, before you went through the whole process of cutting this apart, make sure your seat heaters worked. A lot of time you'll see these things will short out, and you'll see a little burn mark throughout it. There'll be a burn mark about a little bit bigger than 1/4. So if you see a burn mark, that means your thing's probably shorted out, and there's no need to take the time and effort to cut the whole thing out. But if it's good, go ahead and transfer it over. That's what you'll need to do. So we'll hold this up light so we can see make sure no coils nicked, everything's in good, all connected.
And the wires actually cross, let me see this. The wires cross right here, just inside of that hole that you'll see. As well as at the top. I can kind of peel this back there, and you can see one wire right there. But it crosses around these holes on the inside, and there's nothing in the middle here. Now the new cover, when you put this on the foam, you're going to have to get to that Velcro underneath, and you don't need the whole strip of Velcro in order, for it to hold the seam line good. But you're going to want to trim this to at least get some grip. And so I'll go in that middle hole. Just be careful. I'll even hold my finger over there so I don't even get close. Just try and get you, 3 to 4 inches. So when you glue this down, the Velcro is exposed.
So the Velcro on the foam cushion is up. So it comes up through there. So when the new leather seat cover that has the fuzzy side of the Velcro can go through this, will attach through that hole that we're cutting. So it'll hold on to the Velcro on the foam.
There, that's plenty right there. Do the same thing up here.
When you're putting this cover, the new heater onto the foam, if in the foam cushion there's these where these channels are, it probably drops 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, a little trough. You want to make sure that you leave room for this because this will actually close up that gap. So that extra fabric that's in there is for it to go down in that trough. because if you just glued it just flat on top of the foam right there and you sit down on it, it's gonna put all the weight and pressure on these 4 points where the wires are, and you can snap the wire. The wire is not really heavy duty, so make sure when you're gluing the new one in that you push these down into the trough where that Velcro is. So this thing, when it's actually installed, it's going to be it's going to be tighter. You'll see it'll be raised up. So this will be raised up on the foam. This will be raised up, but that trough is sitting a half-inch deep, so it follows that dip. Otherwise, when you sit on it, it's going to break the wire.
Finish this one. Perfect, and that's all there is to it. Now, this is going to be sewn into the original cover, but it doesn't have to be sewn into the new cover for it to work. The seats will still heat even with a new cover and foam over this. Obviously, this is just the pressure of your body. You'll be fine.
When you're putting this on the new foam, this is going to be a little bit bigger than the actual cushion and everything, because you can see everywhere we just cut across the stitching seam. That's what's all this length is. It's probably a half-inch longer. So when it's sewn, you got a lip like this. You don't have this other half-inch sticking out where the thread went. So you may have to, when you lay it on there, take you a pair of scissors. You'll probably have to make some trim. Trim cuts around here to cut this part off that had where the stitching was. But don't do that cut until you've got everything separated and you're getting ready to attach it to the foam cushion. Then you can make your appropriate cuts. And also now it's translucent. You can see through it to see where the coils are. That way you make sure you don't cut across one of the heating wires, and then you screw the whole project there if you cut across one of the coils. So you will need to do some minor trimming around some of the corners to get it to fit on, because this is going to be a little bit wider because you got an extra half-inch on the border all the way around that allowed for when this was sewn into a cover.
And that's basically all there is to it. You just put this on the new foam cushion, or even the old foam cushion, just right on top instead of in the cover. Use a little can of 3M spray adhesive's fine. That's what we do. And Brian was telling you earlier, don't don't glue over the whole thing and then put it down. We just kind of run along maybe an inch around the border, just enough to hold it in place until you get the new cover installed.
There's a section here about the size of a fist that doesn't have any coils. I can put you a shot here, and a shot on the corners, on their tip on the back.
Strip.
The Velcro of the leather cover is going to hold this center section square. You may put a little shot of glue on each side of that. Other than that, you don't need a massive amount of glue in there because the cover is going to be holding on there tight, but you can glue in a couple points. You just want to slap a whole bunch of glue underneath the heating coil.
That's basically it.
If you got any other questions, give us a shout at 214-710-2565, or check us out on the website at www.theseatshop.com.